Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, My Sexual Life. This is a show all about asexuality, and I cover love, life, confidence, dating, relationships, and a whole host of things. Today, I'm going to be discussing health, which is very important because health does affect asexuals, and I'm going through a lot of health struggles at the moment, so I wanted to share some of those with you. How they're affecting my life, how they're affecting dating, and also how I'm taking my health into my own hands. So maybe you should do the same. So let's discuss this. So hi, if you're new to this channel, I'm Sandra Bellamy. I wrote this awesome Asexual Perspectives book bestseller, which is out on Amazon, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So you might have noticed I usually love to live stream on this channel every day if I can, and I really want to do that at the moment, but I've been poorly for a long time and it's affecting my energy levels really badly at the moment. So that's why I'm not able to live stream all the time like I usually do. And it means that it's affecting multiple areas of my life. Now, you might say, like, what's wrong with you? Maybe you don't think I look like there's anything wrong with me, which is great if that's the case, right? But there's a lot of things going on. So one is a sty in the eye, which you might have noticed. That's actually affecting my vision because it's got so big that it's pushing my eyelid down now. And so when I'm doing some writing, which writing is my passion, I've got fibromyalgia self-help handbook out as well and other books. It's harder to see. So I have to make the writing bigger, and sometimes I have to look at it a lot. So for example, the letter C can look like something else like a 3 and stuff like that. There's an M can look like an N and things like this. So that's really very difficult for me when I'm trying to read. Obviously, if it's just a normal sight problem, then you go to the opticians or you get some natural formula to try and get your sight back. But if it's an actual cyst, you have to get rid of the cyst. Now I had this cyst, I noticed it basically Christmas Eve when I was over at my parents', and it got worse. So on the 28th of December, I got it diagnosed, but it wasn't as big then, it's got bigger. And so this has been causing me problems. Also, my other eye's been very difficult as well. I've been having sore eyes. And I don't know if that's to do with the other things I had and have. So I have managed to make some progress with my health by taking my own health into my own hands. Like, I've seen 4 doctors in February this year. So last month, 4 doctors. And this was between the 7th of February and the 23rd of February. They got me in this emergency because I had this rash that's spreading up the top part of my body. And they, in the end, diagnosed it as folliculitis, but they did say it's possible that it was chicken pox. And so I personally think it was chicken pox is going, because I looked at it, and I've had chicken pox before as a kid between 4 and 5 years old. I've had the vaccine when I was a little kid as well. And you're not supposed to be able to get chicken pox again. But if you've got a weakened immune system, which I do have, because I got every illness under the sun, as my mum put it, between the ages of 4 and 5, I missed nearly a whole year of school. So if that is the case and you've got a weakened immune system, plus you've got fibromyalgia, which lowers the immune system anyway, then it can mean that you can get it again. But it doesn't, from my research, because I take my own health into my own hands, if the doctors aren't coming up with the answers that I think are the right answers. So I question the doctors. I question their decisions. Sometimes, not all the time, but if I don't think they're right. So the first doctor I saw said it's either the beginnings of chickenpox or folliculitis. And he put it down to folliculitis in the end, because I saw him again on the 23rd and I saw 2 doctors in between. One said, yes, it is folliculitis. The other person said it doesn't look like folliculitis, right? And then the last doctor I saw in the first place said it is definitely folliculitis because you've got pus in one of the spots, and there's no pus with I know this is really gross to talk about in chickenpox, but that's simply not true. You look on the internet and it is, and it actually is very dangerous if it's got pus in it. It's like a warning sign that it's more deadly than without it, so you've got to go to your doctor. So that simply isn't true. And what I've been doing is, because the doctors don't seem to be progressing, as in helping me to get better, the cream that they gave me wasn't working. The stuff they gave me for the shower, I think, was making me itch more, and I think I was starting to get a reaction to the cream. I'd taken the cream for a couple of weeks anyway, and so I thought, this is not working. So I just don't want you to put anything on your chest area. Like, I don't want you to put anything from the doctors on anymore, because it's not working. And in actual fact, I think it's making you itch more. And these spots were very painful, very itchy. I say, well, I've still got some of them, but other ones are fading and going away. And I'm so proud of what I've been achieving, because it's hugely an amazing achievement, because these spots were just growing and growing. I have got more on my back, it seems, but they were all up my sides, all around the top area here. On my abdomen, they were growing as well. Now, what I've been doing to get myself better, and I think it's very important, if you try the doctors and they seem to be doing nothing and nothing and nothing, and you don't agree with their answers, or you don't think they know basically what they're talking about. I know this is really weird, because most people think, oh, but doctors do know what they're talking about. They're much more qualified than you are, Sandra. But you're more qualified to know and understand your own body than any medical practitioner or anyone, right? You're the one who understands what's going on. I think it's good to go to the doctors initially and keep going to the doctors. If it's life-threatening, go to the doctors, get treatment. The doctors have saved my dad's life this year, along with my mum. Right? My mum told him to go to the doctor straight away when he couldn't even walk up steps anymore. He had breathing problems. Went to the doctor immediately sent a letter to the hospital. Neighbor took him to the hospital. Good job he got him, because he'd be dead by now, because he can't breathe on his own anymore, my dad. But the reason for that is because he's got an acid in it, and he's got a fluid in his stomach, which, from my research, my own personal research, is lactic acid. But they can't do anything more about it at the hospital. They can't get rid of the fluid. They were trying all different things, sticking needles in him, making him drink things, and nothing would work. So now he's on permanent oxygen. He can't live without the oxygen machines, or he'd die, which is really tragic. Now, if I was in my dad's shoes, I'd be doing whatever I could to find a cure for myself, because I'm like that. I believe in going to the doctors. I believe in trying to find out what's wrong with you from the doctors firsthand, because they do have a lot of experience. They are more knowledgeable in general about health than you are, and about things to cure you and help you, right? But a lot of the time, the medicines, hi Liam, hopefully he will be okay. Oh, thanks, Liam. Well, he's on permanent oxygen now. He can't live without that. So unless my dad or someone finds a cure for my dad, he will be on permanent oxygen. And I hate to tell you, but if you Google what's the lifespan of someone on permanent oxygen, it's not very good. I haven't told my mum or dad that at the moment, because my mum's staying positive, which I think is a good thing. But oh, I don't know if I did mention it to my mum once, actually. I might have mentioned it to her, but not paid much attention to it, if you know what I mean. When my dad was in hospital, saying, I've Googled the lifespan of someone on permanent oxygen, it's not good. And I think that's all I said, but it's really not good. So if I was my dad, it's hard, because he can't really do much, because he's on oxygen. He can't go near an oven, and my mum has to do a lot more things for him. He has to wear a mask at night as well. He can't live without a mask at all. So I'm glad he's alive, though. I mean, the main thing is he's alive. He's back with my mum. My mum can enjoy being with her husband again, and I hope he lives a lot longer than the Google answer, because the Google answer is not good. It means it's not, it's a few years, but it's not a good sign. Few years max, but it's not a good sign. And I had an asexual friend who died, I think it was last year, and he was on permanent oxygen. I think within 3 years he died. So it's not good. He had a lot of other health conditions though as well, but my dad's on quite a lot of tablets, I think. So for different things. So anyway, I hope that doesn't happen. But also, he doesn't have as much energy, because he can't breathe by himself, and his oxygen levels are lower anyway than the average person, even with the breathing stuff he's got. So you know what I mean. He drove himself to the doctors as well when he was initially really bad, before he went into hospital. I don't know how he did that, I honestly don't know. So he is a bit of a miracle in that way. But if it wasn't for my mum saying straight away to get to the doctors, my dad was like, "Oh, leave it for another day." My mum's like, "No, go now." Then he, and the doctor hadn't taken him seriously and gotten the letter to get him straight away in an oxygen mask straight away, he wouldn't be here. So hopefully they will find a cure or some treatment. Well, I don't think my parents will. I think it'd be more like, unless my dad does get proactive all of a sudden and decide to like seek something else. But I think from my findings, because I've been researching, they haven't asked me to research, but I've been researching for myself. So I think my dad's got a B1 deficiency. I think I have as well, but I'm sorting it out, which is what I'm going to tell you about. From what I know, there's a doctor online on YouTube, and he came up with the exact problem my dad's got and what it is. It's a B1 deficiency, and I've told my mum and dad that, but it's whether or not they, but anyway, so one of the ways I'm helping myself is I've got Simprove, good bacteria. So I better go through what's wrong with me first, just so you know. So one is a lump on my eye. I told you I've got like spots that have been like spreading on my body. I personally think it is more like chickenpox. There is no rash like I've had anywhere on the internet. I cannot find it. I've looked through mountains and mountains of pictures. It's taken me a lot of time up, and it does get energy draining even doing that. And I've been looking through the pictures, and there is no spots. Like they're like a rash, but which has got like a bright red spot, and it's like a spot and lump all in one, if you know what I mean. It's like raised, but it's not exactly textured. It's weird. And I did post a shorts video about the spots a while ago. And so it's very, very odd. But there is nothing like it on the internet that I can find. I even said that to doctor. There is nothing. I've searched for pictures and pictures and pictures. There's nothing identical to it. The nearest thing to it, it looks like chickenpox, but not the full version, because in chickenpox, usually it forms scabs and drops off. But that's not what's happened to mine. But they do say in very rare cases, if you get it as an adult, if you've already had it, which you're not supposed to get it again, but it can happen if you've got a weak immune system, it acts differently. It can just be the spots without the scabs, without it crossing over and scabbing. But when they've been healing, they have dried up, which is a little bit similar to how I would expect chickenpox to react, but not folliculitis. See, folliculitis is meant to be from hair follicles, and if you look at folliculitis, it's meant to have a hair in the middle of it, and then the infection gets raised around it. But I told the doctor I've got no hair where it's been growing. I mean, eventually it grew into my armpits, but there wasn't there for like a first couple of weeks. It was on the sides. First, I think it was a couple of weeks, yeah, because I started getting these symptoms when I came back from holiday. Like, I was fine in Disneyland Paris. I didn't have this. On the 29th of January, my skin was clear because I got personal photographs and pictures where my skin was clear. And so I know for a fact on the 29th, when I was in the hotel in London, after coming back from Disneyland, I had none of these problems. But about the 2nd of February, I started to get problems. Also, I started to cough stuff up again. So I did have a respiratory infection. Now, I think the respiratory infection's gone mostly, because I'm not coughing stuff up anymore. But last night I started coughing again. But I took cough medicine, it didn't do any good. But I opened the window in the bathroom, and it seemed to have like calmed me down, and so I wasn't coughing anymore. And I wasn't coughing stuff up. So I don't know if that's to do with respiratory or to do with something else that I've got going on, because clearly there's something going on. And so the situation is the spots is clearing up a lot. These are fading on the front of my body. The back, I've still had some ones come up. I think I have more on the bottom of the back. But the respiratory infections improve loads, as in I'm not coughing stuff up anymore. I have been coughing. I wasn't even coughing at all till last night. It's really weird. But I went to sleep earlier. I couldn't sleep very well. And so that's been awkward. So the sty in the eye's not done that much. It's still pretty much the same, dragging my eye down, which is affecting my sight. I've still got ringworm on my legs, which is not good at all either. And the doctor said I had like thrush on my tongue, which I thought was improving, but it doesn't seem to be anymore. So my other symptoms I've got is low energy, really low energy, which means I've only got enough energy to do one like main thing per day usually, so that's, or a couple of things maximum. I'm getting really tired out. Now, the last time I had this problem, it was a it was, but it's not exactly the same problem. Years ago, it was like a thyroid issue I had, but I take kelp for that, and I've been taking kelp like all the time for it since. Actually, I missed 2 doses, I think, when I was in Disneyland Paris, but I took it with me, but I forgot to take it 2 days and my digestive enzymes, but I don't think that would matter because I take more than a normal person would. And so I think that would be fine. I started taking it as soon as I realized, but I didn't seem to have any effects from that. But I was fine in Disneyland. I was fine in London. So, but I take it every day. Every day I've been back, I've just taken it like normal. It's not usual for me to forget it. But I was actually enjoying myself. I had energy back then, so it seems really weird. So I've got such low energy levels at the moment. But the last time I experienced something like this was when I did have a problem with my thyroid. And that was actually found in a blood test years ago. And then I started taking kelp, and that solved that problem. Now, with that particular energy levels, I felt like an old woman inside, like an 80-year-old or something. It's really weird to explain. And with the kelp, I had to get the right dose I took, because if I took too less, I would start that feeling again. If I took the right amount, I would stop that feeling. So I knew that it was dependent on how much I took, and I have to take a lot more than the average person would. I take digestive enzymes because I can't digest my food properly. I was on 8 tablets a day by the doctor because I had years ago. I had gastroenteritis. It went to gastritis and damaged the lining of my stomach. And I was on 8 tablets a day by the doctor. I started getting a rash with the tablets. And there's nothing more the doctor could do for me. I started getting chest pains every time I ate. I had regurgitation. I don't want to talk about this really, but I think it's important to be honest with you. So I took my health into my own hands. That's how I take digestive aids. 2 enzymes every morning before I eat anything, and that's been brilliant. That works like a treat. I can eat stuff now that I couldn't eat before, so that's always worked. It's still working. So the kelp I take for a thyroid problem, natural kelp. I mean, it's expensive stuff because it's got no fillers in, no bulking agents. Because the problem with a lot of things people take is they don't realize. If you buy cheap vitamins and you think you're doing your body some good, read the ingredients, because a lot of them are fillers, they're anti-caking agents, they're bulkers, and you are not actually getting the vitamins you need because they're shoved with rubbish stuff, right? And this is one of the biggest cons in the vitamin industry, if you like, of how it's because people want cheap stuff, and people are like, oh, I'm taking my vitamins, I'm doing such a good thing for my body, but you're actually putting a load of shit in it, excuse my language, if you've got anti-caking agents in there, bulkers and fillers. You're putting a good little bit of a good thing that your body needs more of, that it's not getting enough of, because it's filled up with crap to keep the profit margins high. So I spend a lot of money. It costs me a lot of money to look after my health. It's really expensive because I buy pure stuff. There's no dairy, there's no sugar, unnatural sugars in there. There's no yeast, there's no caking agents, there's no fillers, there's no bulkers and all this lot, and it costs a lot more to do that, but you're getting pure stuff. So at the moment I've got my energy levels lower. I got problems where I wake up sometimes my hands are numb with pins and needles, which isn't good. I keep getting really hot in my face. It's like rosacea. I don't know if you can Google that, but rosacea is like a situation where you come up red on your cheeks and nose and chin and here. And when I've tried to do research on the internet, it can be a sign of respiratory problems, which I have had. I'm not sure if I'm completely got rid of that, but I presume that as I'm not coughing stuff up anymore, I'm not contagious anymore. And in general, I'm a lot better from that. So I don't know if that's gone completely out of my body, but I would say because I'm not coughing stuff up, that it probably has the majority, if not all of it. And then also it can be a sign that your bacteria in your gut is imbalanced, as in you've got too much bad bacteria to good bacteria. Now, the stuff the doctors gave me for the shower, which I've stopped using, is to clear all the infection up meant to be of the skin. But I thought it was just making my skin worse. And not only that, if it clears the bad bacteria off your skin, it's also going to clear the good bacteria, which means your good bacteria is not going to be able to fight the bad bacteria off. I know some of this stuff because I used to see a homeopath for years. And so I used to learn a lot about good and bad bacteria. If you've got a lot of bad bacteria in your body from having illness after illness, from having antibiotics, for example, I haven't actually had antibiotics for over a year, so it can't be that. And if you just had a lot of bad, weakened immune system, bad bacteria is usually taking over your body. So you need to have good bacteria to put back into your body. Now, I've used a product since I'm 15 years old called Hylac. And last year, the manufacturers stopped distributing it and they didn't make a replacement. So I couldn't get hold of it again. So whereas I used to take that every day, which is not normal, the homeopath said, because you've got a lower immune system, you need to take it every day, basically. Whereas most people, they would just take it for 2 months after they've had antibiotics, for example, to boost their good bacteria back up. So because the manufacturers stopped distributing it last year, it meant that I couldn't get it anymore. So I was having just a little bit every now and again, not every day. And so this has caused me a lot of issues. I've been getting, ever since I've not taken that product consecutively, I've just been getting sick and get well again, sick again, well again, sick again. So that's been a real issue for me. So since last Thursday was the last time I had a lot of stress going on. I had a legal document that I had to get done. And before my holiday, I had a lot of stress. And before Christmas. So before Christmas, I burnt myself out with all the stuff I achieved. I achieved a lot for the Asexuals, last year. I joined Blue Talk speaking program. I 10x'd my productivity. So I did 10 times more productive stuff last year than I'd ever do in my life. I'm so proud of everything I achieved. Like I was a speaker at Oxford University for Blue Talks. I was on Lifeology Radio, which, has over 3 million listeners. So, Asexuality was on that. Someone came across me on that. And they even messaged me on Facebook that they used to know me through blogging, didn't know what, their husband used to do the blogging. And so they found me. And so this is great because it raises awareness of asexuality. I was on Sense of Soul podcast. And even this year, I've already been on Lifeology radio, Lifeology podcast, sorry. And I've been on some another podcast, and I'm going to be on Dr. Leica's podcast. Sorry, not a podcast. He doesn't do podcasts. He's got a radio show. Sorry. So definitely, yeah. So he's actually got a radio show. I'm going to be on his radio show next month. That's being recorded. So that's with, he's got, like, in one part of his radio, there's 4.3 million listeners, but overall he's got 7 million listeners. So this is huge for asexuality. So, but behind the scenes at the moment, I'm being asked to provide stuff for that radio show interview. So, that takes a lot of energy. So, I've got things I need to do. So what I'm trying to say to you is that there's a lot of stuff going on, but I've also got a lot of problems in the body. So since last Thursday, I had to get this legal document finished, and it had to be in basically by Friday, and I got it sent off by next day delivery. So it arrived with the people on Friday, and so that was done. So since Friday last week, I've been de-stressing myself because I think some of the spots on my chest are probably either brought on or not helped by stress. I think it's related to that. Also, if it is folliculitis, it could be because I've got a moldy toilet and shower room. And it seems my letting agency is still not going to do anything about it. So one of the windows is completely screwed down and foamed up. When I say foamed up, literally the glass was falling out of the window when I rented this place. And this was the only place I could get that was good for all my needs, even though that's not a good thing. And I got told I'd have to accept the problem with the window because it's a listed building. So they foamed it up, and it's still got mold around it, and it does have mold spray on the ceiling. Now my best friend, when he can and when I'm not too sick, he comes in and does the mold spray, puts it round for me to stop the mold spores. But it says if you are, one of the reasons of folliculitis starting in the first place is because the toilet and shower room, if it's got mold at all and no ventilation, I mean there is one window at the end that I open most of the time, but if it's got no ventilation and it hasn't got an air vent basically, and it's got mold spores, the spores can go on the towels even if the towel's not directly on the mold, if you know what I mean. So that issue, if it is folliculitis, that's most likely where it's come from because it goes on the towels. And that would explain the ringworm. But I thought that some of the rashes, some of the chest getting worse and spreading, I thought it's likely to be stress because I've been in such a highly anxiety-induced stress. I think it is chickenpox as well. It's hard to tell what it is: folliculitis, chickenpox, or stress, or all combination of all three. I think it's most likely, it could be chickenpox and also like stress at the same time. I don't know. But if it is folliculitis, then I think it's possible, I don't know, to get by stress anyway. So yeah, so anyway, I've been de-stressing by making sure I don't do much work every day. So I think when the doctor's not helping anymore, you need to take your own life into your own hands. I have written to my letting agency, but they haven't got back to me yet. I don't know if they will. But anyway, so I have bought a product to try and help replace Hylac, which is a product I used to take to put good bacteria in my body. And this product's called Simprove. So the last live stream, I should say, I did was unboxing of Simprove, and I've been taking that product for 3 days. At the moment, the itching on my arms has stopped, but I'm not sure if that's because of Simprove or because the fact I've tried to keep off all rice products, which has been really difficult for me because I'm not sure if I've got a problem with rice. If I have got a problem with rice, it's very hard because that's one of my staple parts of my diet. I have rice puffs, I have rice cakes usually. And so, you know, I guess the only way I'd know is if I introduce rice back and then I start getting the itching on my arms again. So, yeah, that's been, I still got itching on my legs though. The itching on my legs hasn't gone away. So, because I had the spots clearing up on the top part of my body, then I started getting itches on my arms and my legs, driving myself nuts. I've also got pain on the back of the right leg at the moment. So that's been very tough, you know. And so this is affecting how much I live stream on this channel. This is affecting my life in general because each day I've only got a limited amount of energy to do a certain number of things. And then I just have to sit watching movies to chill out and relax because I have to keep my stress levels down because I don't want the spots on my chest coming back because they seem to be fading and going away, a lot of them, which is really what I need. By de-stressing, it's helping it to heal quicker. You know, the body can't heal very well under stress, huge amounts of stress. So I think it's good to de-stress, and it's hard to force myself not to do much work. I have started editing Diary Confessions of a Hyper-Romantic Asexual again, but I'm only doing minimal, like few pages on that because I haven't got the energy to do more. And yesterday I spent most of my time doing housework, and that zonked most of my energy. So I did catch up with some people, like my friends on Facebook and in messages, and answered a few comments in my groups. I think it was yesterday, and I did a couple of pages of Diary Confessions corrections. So yeah, but I've got Simprove, so that's to put good bacteria in my body. Now, from the research I've done, I think I've got B1 deficiency and vitamin D. Now, apparently, I didn't even know this. From the research I've done, even the government in the UK recommends vitamin D, that everyone should take it because you don't make enough of your own usually, because you usually have to be, especially not in winter, because you usually have to get it from sunshine in the summer. And I last year was indoors nearly the whole time in summer because I had shin splints, if you remember. So I was poorly last year. And then mostly when I go out, it's in the evening anyway, or at night. So I'm not getting any sunlight anyway. Usually I work in the night and sleep in the day. So that cuts my sunlight down. And it says on the government website that everyone should be getting vitamin D because you can't get it naturally a lot of the time. So I went to contact a nutritionist and a homeopath as well to see if they can help me. It's possible they can help me, but for some reason, it's difficult to contact the nutritionist by email. It seems like emails keep kind of like missing each other. And then when she phoned me, I completely lost my voice. So anyway, she says on her website, on the nutritionist website, she says vitamin D she recommends for everyone. So I've not ever taken a vitamin D supplement before, but I do know that vitamin D from my research can affect the eyes. It can affect the skin. And so, yeah, and it can it can affect a lot of other things as well, lack of vitamin D. So I have soya milk, which has got vitamin B2, B12, and vitamin D. And I wasn't taking that. Like I didn't have it at all when I went away because I just took rice cakes and tuna because I thought it was too much to carry in my suitcase. And I realized, oh, that's something that's been lacking in my diet. So I've started drinking that because I keep getting gummy lips as well. It's really weird. And so, yeah, since I've been taking that, whenever I take that, when my lips don't feel very good, it seems to help. So I think probably that's got vitamin D, B2 and B12, and like I said, so it's probably that I'm deficient in those type of things. So anyway, also think I'm deficient in B1. Now apparently B1 can help fibromyalgia, it can help with energy levels, it can help with respiratory problems. If you've got sore calves, this can be a sign of B1 deficiency. So all these like symptoms I've got, a lot of the symptoms I got seems to be I'm B1 deficient. And B1 does affect the breathing as well, but it works best with other B vitamins at the same time. And I know on the blood tests in my past, it says that B12 I might have an issue with, but the doctors never said I have a B12 problem, but it's always come up for testing me for that. And it has been on the lower side, but they said, oh, because the blood sample's like more than 4 hours old, then you can't really say it's accurate. And that's stupid because most blood test samples are not actually sent to a lab and actually seen to within 4 hours, as far as I know. That's a very weird thing to say, but the doctors never said anything. It's just they've just been, oh, it's no problem, it's fine. So it's B12 and folate, I think. So I think I might have a problem with that. So I've ordered, like in the early hours this morning, vitamin D from Viridian, which is where I usually get the majority of my products from, that's pure and doesn't have any bulkers and fillers or anything like that. And I've ordered a B1 complex with a high level. It's a B1 complex. So it's got a high level of the B1 vitamin plus the other Bs as well, because apparently they work better together. Because if you have more of one than the other in your body, in the combinations that you need, like then you can end up not having such good effects, or basically imbalances out, it doesn't work properly or something. The B vitamins have to work all together usually for optimum health. But Viridian, they do like a B12 complex or a B1 complex, so I'm not sure which one I'm most deficient in. So I picked the B1 because I think from what I can see that that's going to help a lot of the issues I've currently got. And this doctor on YouTube, he says that if you take B1 and all of a sudden you feel a lot more energy, then you know that you were deficient in it. If it doesn't change your energy levels and you don't feel any better, then you know you're not deficient in it and you must have some other difficult problem or something. So I should get these by Monday hopefully, and then I can see whether it is or not, because it says that if you find it hard, if you get energy drained doing exercise, which I do normally through fibromyalgia, then that can actually be a B1 deficiency. Nightmares can be a B1 deficiency. I've had nightmares since being a kid, so it'll be really interesting to see if when I take B1 that all of a sudden I become energized, because I feel there's something definitely wrong with me because I don't have the amount of energy I would usually have, which is not good. Like internally it's hard to do things. And so, I believe in taking your own health into your own hands if the doctors aren't, sorting the issues out. Also, what else can I say? Yeah, it affects dating and relationships, obviously. So because when I'm contacting my friends, I can't spend as much time messaging them as I usually do because I haven't got the energy to. Like every time I do something output, like I know that my energy is depleting. So whereas a lot of the time I could do a lot of stuff in a day because I'd have a lot of energy, I have a lack of energy. So I've only got X amount of energy to give. So what this usually means is there's some problem going on in your body where your energy's been taken up elsewhere, usually from a deficiency, because it's trying to compensate for the deficiency. I don't like blood tests. I haven't had one since 2019. And so I'm trying to avoid having blood tests. The only time a blood test has ever shown anything that the doctors have told me about was a thyroid issue that I ended up solving myself. But every time they test me, nothing comes up that they tell me about. And then we'll look at my medical records. Like I said, it said about B12, folate. It said, it had it in red, but said, oh, like use your own judgment with this because, the sample was given to us over 4 hours later, so it might not be accurate. And so they just said there's nothing wrong with you. It's like, but at the moment, clearly, if I'm burning up and stuff, and because I feel hot inside my body a lot of the time, which isn't normal either. So seem to have a problem with temperature regulation, or I seem to be hot most of the time. It's saving on energy bills. So the positive of being hot the majority of the time is it's saving on electricity. Like my bill for January, when I was away for part of the month, was £135 electricity bill. This is right, and I was away from the 22nd of January to the 30th. Right, but I had the heating on a lot before then because it was really cold. And so, that's a lot of money, but that's kind of normal for winter. And then when I got my bill last month, it was like £102 something. It's like I've saved like £33 just for the fact I'm hot all the time. So it's like I've got an internal furnace going on. It's really weird, but I guess, then you could say that is taking a lot of energy, because if my body's a lot warmer, it's probably producing a lot more energy inside it to keep it centrally warm. It's very bizarre, but then my legs get overheated all the time and start itching. It's really annoying, and then it's hard to sleep. So it's saving on electricity is one benefit, but I'd rather have the energy, be able to feel at normal temperatures, and be able to like go out more, which I'm barely going out at the moment because I don't have the energy. So, you know what I mean? It's all having a knock-on effect. So I've got this improve. Which I've taken for 3 days in a row now, and I've got vitamin D3 on its way, and also I've got B1 complex vitamins on its way as well. So I'm hoping that all those 3 products actually solve my issue of what's going on with me, because there's something clearly wrong. Like I get a bit blurry vision as well, especially with the eyelid the way it is. So, and I have had some problems where I thought I was getting some little spots on my face as well, which was really bad. So yeah, I want to like get better. So I'm glad that I'm not coughing stuff up anymore. So I think my respiratory infection, I don't think I'm contagious anymore in that way. I think I can go out. The spots, the only way they're contagious is if I share towels with someone. So I don't share towels with anyone because I'm here by myself, and a lot of them have gone down anyway, which is really good news. I'm so happy with that. To be able to see my skin underneath where these spots are leaving is a real treat for me. Showering is an absolute nightmare, so it's affecting that. I used to love my showers, and now they're more of a chore, and they take a lot longer. I used to take a 40-minute shower anyway because I got fibromyalgia and I got pain anyway, so it's harder to shower and shave. But now it's like over an hour most of the time, and it's not such a pleasant experience because it's like I've got to try different things and then, wash it off and then put stone cold water on me to make sure it's not like itching. So yesterday I just had coconut oil all over my body, which works on certain parts of my body, but then the legs that started itching, so I had to put cold water on it, just to cool it down. So that's really difficult. It affects dating because I've been approached by someone on Facebook dating, for example, Indian guy as far as I know, but I haven't really been in conversation that long. He's already asking like, do I ever visit London? I told him, he's like, how are you? And I told him I'm a bit poorly at the moment. And so then he's saying, do you ever visit London? I said, well, yeah, last time was in January, but 3 days after that I got poorly, and I've been poorly ever since. I don't even have the energy to go out my city at the moment. So on the 14th of February, when I wanted to go to Plymouth, I couldn't because I hadn't got the energy. I mean, part of that was a respiratory infection, but I still kind of feel like I don't feel I have any coughing up symptoms or contagious stuff with the respiratory infection, but I still kind of feel like the other problems with the lack of energy and stuff, I still feel I've got them. So it's really weird. It's like I've got the non-contagious symptoms still from it. It's really weird. It's like I've got a virus feeling, as in the sense of low energy, but I can only think that it's because I've got lack of a vitamin in my body that I need, 1 or 2 vitamins, and that once I take them I'll get my energy levels back. And for some reason all the illnesses together have just thrown my metabolism out of whack and have meant that I've got a huge deficiency in something that I need to take. So, I really pray and hope that, when I get the other 2 vitamins on by Monday, that I take them as well. And then it should hopefully, this improve the 2 vitamins together, they should make it all good. In terms of thrush on the tongue, I took a product from the doctors, but just after taking one shot of it, it's like a liquid thing, I got like a poorly tummy for like 2 hours. So I can't take that. But it's got ethanol in, pure alcohol, and I don't drink that. I don't drink alcohol, and it's got sugar in, which I'm allergic to. So it's no wonder it didn't agree with me. But I don't like alcohol. Like, I haven't drunk, like gone to drunk alcohol since I was 19 years old. I don't know if any chocolates I've had in the past might have had a bit in. I'm not sure. I think maybe. But I've had some sugar-free ones, and then they're saying that, that my mum's bought me, and then I've looked at it and thinking, that looks like alcohol to me, but if it's sugar-free, how can it be alcohol in it? It doesn't say, unless it's just a taste I don't know. But I haven't actually drunk any alcohol for years, so it's important, that I don't do that. I don't want to drink that, but I thought I had to do it to make me better because of the tongue situation, but it affected my tummy anyway. So yeah, so it affects dating, because obviously if you are looking to date, then you can't meet up for a date if you haven't got the energy. You can't be at your best. But then also you can see what people are good for you, because if people can't accept you at your worst, then they shouldn't really, when I say worst, I mean worst health, then you can't. I don't mean being narcissistic or nasty or abusive. I meant if you're having a really down time but it's not normal for you, then if they can't just wait a bit and accept that you're not very well at the moment and become friends with you first, and then strengthen the friendship time after time, month after month, then see you, they're not really that interested. They're just interested in an experience, a fling or whatever. Like an actual proper relationship, people do get sick. I understand though that if someone's not used to how I am, they don't know what not being sick is like for me, then it might put them off me, but that's fine, because then they're not the right person for me. So you could say, well, why are you even on dating apps if you're poorly? Well, I think it's kind of good to me sometimes to distract myself off my feeling of being poorly, because the trouble is what we focus on expands, and the more I think about being poorly, the more I'll become poorly, if you know what I mean. Whereas I need to be thinking the opposite and looking towards the future. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. One is like, I haven't got the energy so much to be talking to people in messaging and doing dating and stuff like that. So the messages I'm not sending like I would usually send, but that can be a good thing, because if you send too many messages at the beginning of connecting with someone, then especially if they're not sending many messages back, then it can end up a one-sided thing. So that's no good. So if you are sending too many messages at the beginning, you could be spending too much energy on someone that doesn't deserve it yet, because they haven't earned it yet. So it can be advantageous, but obviously it's good to like reserve energy for other things that are more important. So I'm not actually messaging people as much as I was on Facebook dating. There's a lot more Indian guys on there that I end up talking to, whereas on Badoo there isn't. And when I look at the guys on Badoo, a lot of the time I just think, no good, no good, no good, and it's like, then I go off it. But Facebook dating, I have had some people I've liked on there recently, but none of them have been suitable. And this guy that's talking to me at the moment, he probably hasn't read my bio. Usually they don't even read my bio and check to see that I'm asexual and don't want sex. And I had one guy who was like British older guy, and then he lied and said, oh, I'm Indian 20. I'm like, yeah, right. Blocked him. First of all, I thought he was just like a con. He was using someone else's photographs, but he wasn't. I'm just like, no. He's just lying because he wants to tell you what you want to hear. So get rid of him. So anyway, that was the end of that. So if you are dating, obviously, like I can't go out of my seat at the moment. I can barely even go up the road. Like at the moment, my energy levels are not good. I did spend a lot of time out one day this week, which is to get my mum's presents for Mother's Day. So that was like a full-on day. I ended up going to the city 4 times. My legs were hurting in the beginning because I wasn't used to it, and then I got more used to it. So it's hard, because if I don't exercise, then I'm going to get pains in my legs and not feel good. But if I do exercise, it drains my energy more. So I think like, when I've got fibromyalgia, which is a chronic pain condition that affects the nerves and muscle of the body anyway, and then I've got whatever else is going on in my body, it just makes it 10 times worse for me. And the effects of it 10 times worse, because I've already got a condition. It's a pain condition. There's a lack of energy condition. And usually I eat and drink things that give me the energy I need. So I've not got these problems, but for some reason that's not working anymore. So it means I'm probably lacking in something, because if I'm not changed what I'm having, it usually means it's something I'm not having anymore. So whatever that something is that I'm not having, I need to have and replenish, if you know what I mean. But I need to make sure I'm absorbing things properly as well. But sometimes you can lack vitamins that help other vitamins to be absorbed by the body if you're not having the right vitamins. Do you know what I mean? So I think this is all very important, all linked together. So I'm going to try these vitamins, and then if they don't work, then I'm going to have to see the nutritionist or homeopath, for extra advice and help. So if you are under the doctor and you can't find a cure with them, if you know what I mean, help with them, then you then have to find your own solutions to your own problems. And I'm really pleased that I've made some progress already. I'm just not happy that I haven't solved all the issues yet, but sometimes these take months to solve. This improve takes up to 3 months to actually work. So yeah, I've got that to look forward to see if it actually works or not. And I'm really proud of me trying to solve my own health issues, because it's not easy when you're feeling a lack of energy to think I've got to solve my own issues and that I can be well again. But that's what you have to keep thinking. You have to keep a positive mind, thinking this is temporary. You weren't like this before, so you don't need to be like this again forever and ever, right? You can change back to having beautiful skin, and you can solve the problem to get well again. It just might take a few months, because even with good bacteria, they do take some months to settle in. Sometimes vitamins can be immediate if your body's lacking them, or sometimes it can take longer if you've got a real deficiency in something, So I would always say, keep understanding your own body, keep learning about your own body, keep trying things, see what works, see what doesn't. And dating is not as important as me, right? My priority at the moment is my own self-care, my own self-worth, more than ever. Like, I'm not, if I don't message the guy back within a certain amount of time, I'm fine with that, because I'm poorly at the moment. And if a guy doesn't want to stick around while I'm ill because he just wants to hook up or whatever he wants to do, then that's fine, he can leave my life. But obviously it does affect dating, because if you do want to go on a date and you haven't got the energy to do it, it means either having a video date, which is an option, but obviously that's still going to drain some energy. It means that the person's got to come to your own city, or, to see you and just have like a meal or something with you, do something like short and sweet with you. And it means that you've got to find a person who's understanding about ill health and not just looking for the party, as it were, not just looking for all the good aspects of a relationship. If someone's not sticking around because you're not well, then that's fair enough, but also that they're not the right person for you, because you're going to get sick in the future, and when that happens, your true friends show who they really are. The people who care about you show who they really are. It's not in the times when you are at your best, just that. It's when you're at your worst as well. So if someone's there for you at your worst and your best, as in sickness, I'm not talking about abusive behavior. If someone's abusing you, then you need to leave that situation. Obviously, if someone's saying something that's abusive, you can then give them a chance to put it right, which most abusive people don't do. But I mean, if it's just like a one-off thing, like someone says something verbally that's not very nice, then you can say something to them. But if they don't change that behavior, then you have to leave their life. But abuse, don't put up with it. I put up with that abuse years ago, and I wouldn't do it again. So and people can be very subtle in the abuse. So like, I had a guy come back on Purdue, I think it was like last week, and he started saying, now listen, and when someone uses that tone of voice, now listen, in a message, it's not good. Some Indian guys have done that to me before. I've had to block them, because that's not how you speak to someone to justify your bad behavior. Because he's basically trying to get money out of older women, from what I can tell. So because he hates his life and his job. Because I said, I'm not a sugar mummy. If I want sex, I can go and get it, but I'm asexual. I don't want sex. That's kind of the whole point. You know, And I said, why are you going around asking all women for money anyway? It's like, oh, look, I was in a really bad situation. I was going to be made homeless. It's like, well, I faced homelessness at the end of 2022, but I didn't go around doing that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So be kind to yourself and know that it's okay to take time off work for yourself. You know, obviously, if you've got a job, employed job, I'm self-employed, but if you've got a job elsewhere, then you need to, you know, get your doctor to write you sick notes, because, you know, if you haven't got the energy to do work, you haven't got the energy, and that's the end of the story. You know, you can't do stuff you can't do. Obviously, some companies will get rid of people in those situations. I don't want to say that to you, but they will. So you know, it's better to just be forewarned about that. You know, but you still should have time off. You know, if a company can't accept that you're poorly, then, you know, are they really worth working for? That's what I would argue. But, you know, you can't work if you've got a lack of energy and you need time off. If you're self-employed, you know, obviously it can be difficult with money then, but if you can be off work and then, you know, just decide what one task you're going to do per day, you know, and get done that day, so that you can actually, you know, be free the rest of the day to rest, if you like. It's really important. So what do I do each day? I do manage to do washing each day usually, because the doctors concluded I had folliculitis, or have folliculitis. So they said, oh, you need to be changing your bedding all the time. So like I've been changing my bedding, like most of the time I've been changing my bedding every like 3 days. But this last time I didn't last night, because I thought it was getting so much. I got so much washing that I can never get on top of it. So I've just started to get on top of it. And I think as the rashes and spots are dying down now on my top part of my body, I don't think it's as severe anymore. So I think I'm getting better. You know, it seems that way from that. So I don't think I need to change it quite as regularly. And I keep pajamas on anyway, so it's not really touching my bed. Although my legs might be a bit, and they got ringworm on since last May, actually. But yeah, so I think it's really good if you take your own health into your own hands. If you do your own research on the internet, find out what symptoms you've got, and then match the product to the symptoms that it should solve, and then go and get that product. But if it's got bulkers, filling agents, anti-caking agents, this type of thing. So it's bulkers, fillers, and anti-caking agents. If it's got those 3 things in, or any of those 3 things, then look for an alternative that's more pure source of what you need. So you're actually getting good stuff, not mixed with the bad stuff, because you don't want other problems in your body. And then go and get those products and taking them and see if you feel better. If you don't, then, you know, it's not going to necessarily work straight away, because if you've got a problem, it can take a while to solve, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? It's not any overnight fix for some things, but keep going, keep believing in you, keep knowing this time shall pass. You've got better before, you'll get better again. You know, it's temporary. And when you've got so many problems, you have to take each problem one by one and think, how do I solve this? Ask yourself the question, how do I solve this or resolve this? Don't focus on the problem, because you focus on the problem. There's something I've learned in my life with every aspect of life. If you focus on the problem, you keep getting more and more of the problem. If you ask yourself, what's the solution to this? What's the solution to this? What's the solution to this? And keep focusing on finding the solution, you usually eventually find the solution and can solve the problem. And you solve it a lot quicker, because otherwise you go around in circles. And, you know that dating, looking for relationships is probably not the best time to do that at the moment. But if you feel like just talking to a few people, because maybe we're indoors a lot more, it can help you, you know, feel connected to other people. But make sure, most importantly, you stay connected to your friends. Let them know what you're going through, because obviously if you're not communicating with them as effectively, because you're not messaging them as much or in the way you usually would, let them know, look, I'm feeling poorly at the moment, lacking energy at the moment. So, you know, I'm going to take longer to respond, or I'll get back to you on such and such a day, or I won't be able to get back to you straight away, or get back to you another day. It might be more minimal messages, this type of thing. So yesterday I did really well. I did lots of hours of housework, actually. I did washing up, because I haven't been able to do any for days, week probably. Cleaned all my stairs and hoovered all my flat. But, you know, after that I was really energy drained a lot. But I did check in with some friends in messaging. I did a couple of pages of Diary Confessions of a Hyperromantic Asexual, and that was even more tied out. So I did all that though. I was pleased that that's a lot for me to do in a day. A lot. And the day before I actually recorded interview. Someone asked me interview questions via audio, and they told me to send my answers back for an interview, which was talking about asexuality. So I did that the day before, but that pretty much wiped my energy out for the day. And so yeah, it's hard, because usually I'll be able to do a lot more things in a day and I'd be able to have a lot more energy, but I can't at the moment. So keep positive, keep believing in yourself, know that you know your own body better than anyone else, get professional advice wherever you think you can. It's helpful. Of course, go to the doctors first. I don't think you shouldn't go to the doctors. I think you should go to the doctors, get their verdict, get their opinion of more than one doctor. I got the opinion of 3 doctors. 2 of them said folliculitis. The other one said they didn't think it was folliculitis, but didn't know what it was because they asked me what I thought it was. So that was very weird. But yes. So see what you think yourself. Like if they aren't doing anything more for you, if you go and you keep going the same answer, you can't keep going to them and getting the same answer and expecting a different result. So you then have to look for answers yourself outside of yourself. Like by going to doctors on YouTube. You don't obviously know how reputable the doctors are, you have to find out, like have they got a website? Are they selling healthcare products themselves? The doctor that I found is selling healthcare products. Although I'm not buying from him because the D3 he's got, which D3 with a K something as well. When I looked at it, he said he's using the purest and best ingredients, but it's not. Like he's using the first ingredients is a filler, like anti-caking agent is used for. Bulk is, I think it's used for anti-caking, bulking, and as a filler. I'm like, what? You're saying you got pure ingredients? It's not pure ingredients. I'm not buying from you. So I think it's good that he knows what he's talking about. But then I, if he's saying it's pure ingredients, then it's clearly not, not all of it. So that's not good. So that's made me trust him a bit less now. But I think he knows his stuff because he was doing a whole education about B1 and the, like why it's important. I've cross-referenced that with other YouTube doctors and specialists. So I think I do need to take that because I seem to have a lot of symptoms that would go with that. And apparently it's really hard to detect in a blood test because it's actually an enzyme you're deficient in, not your actual B1 itself as such. So it doesn't show up in there. Oh, I noticed that my arm's actually itching again now. Well, I said that arms have stopped itching. So yeah, I feel like I've got a bit of a blocked nose at the moment as well. So maybe I've still got some respiratory issue stuff going on. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful, helpful, insightful. Know that it is going to affect your life because if you've got lack of energy, you can't spend as much time going out or with your friends, which can make you more miserable. You can't have as much energy to do everything you need to do in a day. So then you have to prioritize even more what you need to do that day. What's the most urgent, pressing thing that you need done and out the way. And also, you have to just make people aware of your situation because people aren't mind readers, and rather than just expect people to understand that why you're not replying like you usually do, or you're responding less frequently or less quickly, they're going to need to know that, so you need to explain to them. I really lack an energy at the moment. I'm not very well, so it takes me longer to respond, longer to read things, longer to do things, If they're good people, they'll understand that. If they're not, then they'll complain, right? And then you need to, think this is not a good person to have in my life if they're complaining. But even if they're complaining, it's not your fault. You need to continue being you and continue with using the energy on yourself for the things you need. You are the most important thing in life. If you're not well, no one will be hearing from you anyway, right? So make sure that you're being as healthy as possible, doing things that light you up as much as possible, and try and focus all the time on getting well and getting yourself better and just chilling out and doing what makes you feel happy and good, right? I've been watching loads of movies. Every day I usually watch at least one movie. The other day I watched 3 because after I'd done that interview, recorded that interview, it took so much energy. I was completely wiped out. So I ended up watching 3 movies and not doing much else. Apart from, like yesterday I was cooking food. I haven't been able to cook as much, but yesterday I cooked 2 full meals, which was hard going. But after I'd done all the washing up and hoovering, so that was actually a very good day for me. did all the hoover in my flat, did all the washing up, cleaned all the table downstairs, cooked 2 full meals yesterday. I managed to do a couple of pages of diary confessions of a romantic, asexual. I had someone in message who's in one of my groups, a really nice person, and she's read my Asexual Perspectives book and left a review. I got a friend to leave a review because they bought it for her on Amazon, so that's really good. And she's going to give me her answers to the questions so I can use it in a future book, which is great because I'll probably use it in Diary Confessions book 2, I think. So I'm really looking forward to reading that, but she knows I've got low energy at the moment. So hi to that person. Lots of love, community love for them. And so that's really good, you know. And yeah, anyway, with dating, don't forget your main priority is you, not other people, not to date. You know, like if you can't date, you can't date. The person will have to wait for you, or you just have to have a video date or something like that, right? But even that's going to take energy. So if you've got more important things that day, then you put the other things first, because you need to continue with your life and what makes you happy and what lights your cup up. They'll have to wait. They'll have to book in with you, you know, so you know on that specific day, that's the thing you got to do. If you've got work, so I do have some work things I have to do at the moment, but I'm like, you know, I've had to tell some people who I work with that I am poorly at the moment, so I can't do things as quickly as they'd like, or I might leave things for a couple of weeks until I get fully back, you know. I've been sick for over a month now, so this is not good, but I am determined to get well. Determined to get well. Like, my health is my main focus this year, as well as my book writing, you know, because book writing makes me feel so good. Writing and anything to do with books does make me feel, you know, writing books or editing my books, particularly the writing of books, makes me feel really good. So do what makes you feel good as much as possible. Do what helps you to relax as much as possible, because that'll help you de-stress, which will help your immune system improve itself, or at least not get any worse. So it's a big deal to do that. And practice self-care, like have cups of any sort of herbal teas that might help you. Chamomile's very good. Immune boosting teas are good as well. And keep in touch with your friends. You know, connection is good, but just let them know that you're not feeling up to your full self at the moment. So anyway, I'm gonna love you for now. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. I'll see you soon on the next video or live stream whenever I can do that. Take care. Lots of love. Bye. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and grab my Asexual Perspectives book off Amazon bestseller.